welcome to the July edition of Connections. I'd like to welcome not only all of you who are faithfully coming into Connections each month, but in a very special way, the very guests that I've invited to join me here today in this unique place. Immediately to my right is Tresool Singh-Conway, our Chief Financial Officer, and to her right, Thomas Varghese, the Director of our programs. Immediately to my left, we have Michel Constantin, who is the Regional Director of our office here in Beirut. And on the far right, and to Thomas's right, is Darine Tawk, who is involved in the programs both here in Lebanon and also in Syria. I am very grateful to them for their presence here this afternoon. Before coming and giving a little background on where we are, as always, we dedicate the moments of this time together in prayer, seeking the intercession of God's inspiration in our minds, what we ought to understand, and more importantly, in our hearts, what we ought to embrace as His will. I ask that we reflect on the 5th chapter of St. Mark's Gospel, the very famous scene in which we read the words of Jesus, Talitha cum, little girl, I say to you, rise up. Where are we? What is so unique? This is the 75th anniversary of pontifical mission. In the last days, Tresool, Thomas, and I have traveled to Amman, Jordan to celebrate that anniversary, and for the last couple of days, we have been here in Beirut, in Lebanon. Today, we come to this refugee camp, the Dbayeh refugee camp just outside of Beirut. And what you see over our shoulders are the tin roofs, the zinc roofs, that have been here since the late 1950s as this camp has grown and with the way in which it has offered a place for refugees, for Palestinians to be able to come. It is for us a very important place because CNEWA and Pontifical Mission are involved with regard to the support that goes through the Beirut office to places like this. On this particular day, it is also very important for us to be here because it is a special day being dedicated to the entire theme of what Pope Francis has referred to as, and I quote, the scourge, close quote, of human trafficking. CNEWA and Pontifical Mission dedicates itself, among its many programs, to work to eliminate the scourge of human trafficking in all its forms, or to work with other partners to give protection to victims of human trafficking. So now let me turn to the panel so that we can listen also to the particular insights that they bring to this conversation. Tresool, as our Chief Financial Officer, I would ask for you to share your thoughts.
Thank you. As the Chief Financial Officer of the agency, I am responsible for all financial activities for all of our offices. I'm especially responsible for the credibility and transparency of funds being transferred to these offices to ensure that all recipients get the funds that they ask for, that all programs are financially funded. I am especially grateful for being on these trips because it is showing and reinforcing credibility and transparency. There is no valid transparency other than touching the hands of one person that is getting help or major institutions that are getting help from us. Touching the hands that says thank you, or looking at the group of recipients in an institutions that are receiving our support, seeing the changes, feeling the touch, just smiling and enjoying the laughters that we share with each one of these recipients. I am grateful for this experience and most touched by what we're doing. I am absolutely grateful for this opportunity, for being a part of an agency that is doing such great and wonderful work. And we are only doing it because of the support of our donors. And I do want to really convey to our donors how special their gifts are and how it's helping and changing the world that we are working in. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tresool, and thank you for your comments the other day to the group of young women that we found, the refugees, and your thoughts in trying to encourage empathy and asking them to embrace the possibilities for freedom and for a greater assertion of their own desires in terms of their own lives. Thomas, as the Director of Programs, could I ask you to share with our audience your thoughts?
Thank you, Monsignor. As Tresool also discussed, the transparency, what I receive in our office is different names, applications, numbers, ID numbers. But again, when I come here, I see those numbers and names and details are reflected, becoming life. That's what, as in the Dbayeh camp also, I saw all those children yesterday when we were here. They were so happy. One place where they can really become a child and be jumping and dancing and singing songs to us. And it's really, it's just not just details of or numbers or ID numbers. Here is the life, what we see. And that's so touching. And again, as Monsignor mentioned in Amman, Jordan, where we give life to all those refugees who crossed from their homeland, became displaced, came into this another country. They had no idea what's going to happen going forward. And now they've embraced what their life is like into this place with Franciscan missionary sisters, trying to teach them some sort of a vocation. Become creating little artifacts, small bracelets, or a rosary, or even how to do a manicure of and run their own store or business. Little that they earn, that they can be proud of, they can support their own family by themselves. In here also we see the children, how amazing, from the little ones to the older ones. And again, there are women who struggle, and we stand firmly for Talidakum, as we mentioned, if we can raise them up from the situation they are in. And we are proud to do. It's the generosity of our donors who's enabling. We're just in between channel. From USA, we are just a channel here in between, and we bring it down to the lives which is touched. There are hundreds and hundreds of families who's being touched by the generosity of our donors. And we are grateful to the work what we are enabled to do by your help and your generosity. Thank you very much.
Thomas, and thank you very much for your comments at the press conference the other day that Michel arranged, in which you were able to talk about the many programs of CNEWA and Pontifical Mission, particularly on the question of human trafficking. Michel, could I ask you to talk to us and inform us about the work and the mission of the Beirut office and what you're doing here, the great work?
Sure. Thank you, Monsignor. And I would like to mention one major thing. CNEWA, Pontifical Mission, was established first in this place, and because of those people who are living in this place in Dbayeh camp. And we were, of course, at the beginning, an organization to provide shelter for those refugees. But we were not like all other organizations who came in a rush, and they dumped tons of food and mattresses, and then they left. We remained with them, working with them, with the poor, with the church, for 75 years. So we started here in 1949, and our mandate has been changing over the time with the change of needs, with the change of the situations. So when we started here first, until 1975, our main mandate was to help the Palestinians. After that, our mandate has changed because there was new victims in the light of the civil war in Lebanon. It was a brutal war, and we had many victims, refugees, wounded persons, people who lost their properties, their businesses. So we were involved in helping Lebanese and Palestinians until the end of the war in 1990. After that, we looked around us, and our mandate was further extended to work in Egypt and in Syria, and later on, by 2014, in northern Iraq, when the Christians of Nineveh Valley were forced to leave their houses and to find refuge in Kurdistan, in Erbil. So this is the mandate in terms of geographic mandate and demographic mandate has changed. But the core mandate that was given to us by the Pope to coordinate the different efforts of the church, of the international church and international church organizations, and to be the bridge between the donors and the local church and the local people who are in need, remains the same. We are till now still working every day on coordinating efforts between donors from Europe, from United States, through CNEWA office, from Canada, from everywhere, and to make sure that every needy person can sleep with not hungry. Every child, we can provide him his right for education, every patient his right for a medication or medical intervention. We're trying our best. The needs are huge. The challenges are huge, especially now we are passing through very, very critical time in the Middle East and in Lebanon and in the surrounding country. I hope with the support of the donors, with the support of New York office, we will be able to continue our mandate. Before finishing, I would like to stress on two major new dimensions in our work, which are, like Monsignor said, the human trafficking and the safeguarding policies. I will transfer now the stage to my colleague Darine, who will tell us about our efforts in order to help the local church in abiding by the human traffic, the safeguarding policies, and how we can help the church to be able to do such programs. Darine?
Thank you, Michel. So CNEWA Pontifical Mission, as a faith-based organization, has an obligation to protect every child from any kind of harm, risk, or abuse. Being a bridge between Catholic donor agencies and beneficiaries on the ground, CNEWA's work is through partnership with local church institutions who are required also to sign this safeguarding policy and in order to start the implementation process. This is why we have adopted and we are adopting now and integrating the safeguarding policy within our programs and projects in Lebanon. We are starting in Lebanon with this process, ensuring that all staff and programs are promoting the welfare of children and adults and vulnerable adults without exposing them to any kind of risk or harm. The safeguarding policy aligns with the Church's value. As Pope Francis said back in February 2019, it is time to work against child abuse. The safeguarding policy applies on all staff, all employees, volunteers, trainees, partners that are involved parties within any project or program implemented through CNEWA Pontifical Mission. The importance of safeguarding policy lies in preserving the human dignity of children and vulnerable adults, where society nowadays is really exposed to all kinds of exploitation, bullying, psychosocial and physical abuse, etc. There's more to that. The on-ground work consists of the organization's adoption of safeguarding policies is molding according to each partner we work with. It's according to their background, to their type of work, to their mission. So the safeguarding is always a work in progress through several factors such as training for staff, anti-harassment policy, data protection policy, complaints mechanism. The complaints mechanism, which each partner has a person who is responsible of receiving all complaints from any children or any adults who is subjected to abuse or to any kind of risk. It is important to mention that most international organizations are nowadays stressing on policies adaptation with all partners with their funds solely disbursed for only policies holders, only all the partners who already signed this form, the safeguarding policy.
Darine, thank you so much. Thank you so much. We have now a very special treat. CNEWA and Pontifical Mission organize an annual dinner, a gala dinner, and at that time we try to recognize people who have played a significant role and we want to honor as CNEWA and Pontifical Mission. And the area, the theme that certainly we have been looking at and working toward at this particular time, as I said, to remove the scourge of human trafficking. And it was last December at that annual gala dinner that CNEWA was able, and very happily, to honor the Good Shepherd's sister, Sister Marie Claude Naddaf. If I could invite you, sister, to please join us here. And of course also from the Wells of Hope, the Wells of Hope coordinator, Nayiri Arslanian, if you would join us also. And we want to thank you both for the record that you have established over so many years. I know that thanks to Michel, I was able to come to one of your workshops in Lebanon a couple of years ago, sister. But perhaps you could just share with us the work that you continue to do at Wells of Hope.
Yeah. Nous rendons grâce au Seigneur pour ses 75 ans de vie et de fécondité. CNEWA Beyrouth était comme un petit grain de sénévé qui a été planté ici. Aujourd'hui, CNEWA est devenu un grand arbre et nous voyons combien de personnes sont encore abritées par la mission de CNEWA New York par l'intermédiaire de CNEWA Beyrouth. Nous vous remercions beaucoup de croire à notre travail et nous sommes très heureuses de nous avoir ouvert la porte grande ouverte pour que CNEWA Beyrouth aussi accepte, ouvre notre porte pour Wells of Hope in the Middle East. Vous êtes devenus nos supporters. Sans vous, nous ne pouvons rien faire. Je ne pourrais pas vous dire ce que Wells of Hope in the Middle East est en train de faire, de vivre et de donner la vie. Je peux donner la parole à ma collègue Nayiri qui travaille sur le terrain, qui est partout, dans tous les coins, là où il y a vraiment des victimes et des victimes qui sont victimes de trafic.
Merci beaucoup, sister.
Merci.
Nayiri, could you tell us a little bit about, as the coordinator, a little bit about Wells of Hope?
Yes, as a coordinator in the field, I just want to tell you about some of the services that are our project that is funded by CNEWA Pontifical Mission. At the beginning, since 4 years, 2019, in our beginnings, Pontifical Mission promptly support our activities. The first one was awareness session that is very much tailored for the different age groups. The topic human trafficking we give in different age groups from 5 to 18 and more adult. This is one of the services. We have a special curriculum for that. Then we go to do an advocacy in the universities about the topic during the year. Then we go trainings for the new members to join to us, and plus we do trainings to the members of the network so that they can develop their skills. But the much more important, the following year we are working with the street children on the spot and sex trafficking on the streets. We have a large number of street work the following year. We are targeting women who are obliged to be on the streets as a prostitute, and to the children who are obliged to be on the streets begging. So those are the two groups that we are stressing on them the following, because we know that are the most fragile groups for human trafficking. By believing that when we empower the women, we empower the whole society, so that we lessen the risks of the women to be eligible to be trafficked. The most important here is that we are moving with the women who are very high risk of trafficking and very high or trafficked almost, so that then when they finish their vocational training and they learn a new technique, skills at their hands, so that they can work, and with their dignity they get their money, and they will be support to their families and the children. Today, we are doing a marathon in this area. For us, as a Talita Kum Wells of Hope project, we are used to be in vulnerable areas, starting from different camps in Sabra, in Burj al-Barajni, many other Palestinian camps. Now, we are here just to do a marathon. By marathon, we gather the children, we gather the adults, we move them from the social media, internet, telephones, etc. We bring them together, we empower their communication skills together. We move by the parishes, by the villages, which are a huge number of Christians, and also in the camp. Today, our marathon will be in this area to to make the skills better of communication and to teach them, to educate them about human trafficking, about exploitation, about privacy, to have for their well-being.
Nayiri, thank you so much. We continue to support the work that you're doing. The work you're doing, sister, was very much, that empowerment of women was very much a theme that Tresool developed in Amman when we were speaking to young women, to young refugees. So it's a very important theme for CNEWA and Pontifical Mission. By way of just wrap up, as I try to do each time that we gather, I like to just give thanks. And I want to start by giving thanks today, and I speak, I know, for my colleagues here, Tresool and Thomas, and giving thanks to you. Michel, what you have organized and put together in terms of our itinerary, the experience that we had yesterday in terms of the Divine Liturgy, followed by the reception. You should all know in the United States, for over 250 people who came out because of the way in which they feel supported. They feel the support of the entire team here. And so, Michel, to you, Darine, to you, to the entire team here in Beirut, we are very, very grateful for that explosion of gratitude that was experienced last night at that liturgy and the reception that followed it. I also want to take the opportunity to invite you, once again, those who look at this program, to do the three things I ask at the end of every program. Number one, please join us in prayer. Please, the prayer of Jesus, rise up, O daughter, is a prayer of empowerment. He empowered that young woman. And that you've heard here as a theme that has come through in terms of our themes for CNEWA and Pontifical Mission. Please join us in prayer. There's nothing as powerful as prayer. Second, please frequent our website. Go to the website, go to the blog. Why? That attempts to tell the Catholic story. What is the Catholic Church doing on all these major gospel issues that require a response? Pope Francis has said, one of the greatest threats today is the threat, and I quote, of global indifferentism, close quote. That is a threat that we take seriously. And you can help us to reverse and give an answer so that that will never happen on the part of anyone who is involved in the programs of CNEWA and Pontifical Mission. And third, we ask for your generosity. Every one of us here, we have already expressed our gratitude for your generosity, but as we travel and continue to see the experiences and the needs in a very broken world, we know how much more we need to do. So we ask you to be generous. We ask you to continue to be generous. As I mentioned, it was last December that we had our annual dinner. We have an annual gala dinner coming up this December. You can go to the website, see the detail, but there we're going to be honoring. The guest of honor will be His Excellency Archbishop Kacha. I mention that because Archbishop Kacha, as a diplomat of the Holy See, spent, Michel, tell me, 9-10 years here in Beirut. So he knows this land, he knows these people, he knows the needs. Archbishop Kacha will be the guest of honor. And in addition to Archbishop Kacha, we're very pleased to be able to announce that we're going to have, and certainly the audience in the United States appreciates this, we're going to have Gail Benson. Gail Benson is the owner of the football team, the New Orleans Saints. As it turns out, I just peeked at the schedule. It's just days after she's coming to be honored and be given CNEWA's very prestigious Faith and Cultural Award that the New Orleans Saints will be playing across the river in New Jersey against the New York Giants. So for those of you in the United States, you know the significance and the added attention that that is going to give, similar to what you'd be experiencing here with any kind of a major soccer match. I ask you, please, come to the website, pray with us, and donate according to what your means are. I look forward to seeing you at the next Connections. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.